Welcome to Solutions from the Yard, a candid discussion about life behind bars and its effect on society. We'll discuss reintegration or re-entry back into the community post-incarceration. Your host for this episode is Michael Dickerson-El.
Welcome to Solutions from the Yard, and I'm your host, Michael Dickerson-El, and I have my two cohorts with me, Brother Charles Hopkins and Brother Trent. How you brothers doing?
I'm doing great.
I'm blessed.
Yeah, we gonna have a little in-depth conversation about faith in prison. Like a lot of times when brothers and sisters, they go to prison, sometimes they don't have a place to turn. They don't have an answer for, their problems and their ills and woes. And a lot of time we turn to our particular faiths in prison. And this show is not promoting, any particular denomination, but it's just to talk about how joining the faith in prison, helped a lot of us out. And, it's continuing to help us out in our journey and, bettering our lives and reentry. And, because it played an important part, especially for me, because I never really believed in too much, of anything, but myself. But I always believed that there was a God,
Right.
That's something that I always believed. And I just didn't have, no particular foundation to, of worship. And, when I came to prison, it was something that basically called me to do that, kind of like, something was urging me because I really wanted to change.
Right.
And that was one of the things that I would say is the foundation of helping me change. And, I'm just going to have various questions, with some of the brothers. But the thing what I want to talk about is like, when it comes to your faith, Brother Charles, what's your definition of your faith for you?
Well, for me, right, it's my foundations, things I can't see, but the things I can come to understand through witnessing certain events that take place. For me, it gives me like I said, my foundation. It allows me to be able to go to a space and find some type of solace and not have to rely on no materiality to be the conduit upon which I get the relief. Like my faith is I worship the commissary state day. So every state day, I'm like Chug, and I'm like, God, you good to me today. When the commissary went out, then my faith went out. No, my faith is if I got something to eat or don't have something to eat.
Exactly.
I want to be in a space in my head that I can find some solace and not have to look outside to find solace, because I know from experience, my personal experience, that, at times, and when we talk about prison, and we all experience it, you got like people in prison, comrades, that these are your friends. They like literally they family in the joint, and when they get out, you continue that, right? And so, in terms of trust and issues, I ran into some of my comrades like, look, man, and I felt comfortable that they were gonna give me the appropriate information to make a decision. But then once I grew, I started relying on my spirituality and saying turn to a spiritual and finding solace in that, operating on faith and not by sight.
What you say about that, Dietrich?
Well, faith to me is having belief in self, and meaning that that you could go within yourself and find that peace.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever peace that is that you may be seeking in life, especially when you're in prison.
Right.
Because we know how hard it is to find some type of peace.
That's right.
In there when we, dealing in that man-made hell.
Mm-hmm.
But faith in having belief that there is something bigger than you, right? And like Brother Charles said, seeing the unseen, because you got to believe in what it is that you see, and some of the things that you don't see, because it happened,
right,
even though you didn't see it.
That's right.
So that you got to have, and some of the transformations that we done seen from brothers and sisters that be in prison is only through faith, right? having faith that they gonna make it out of there.
That's right, Dietrich.
That's what a lot of faith rely in. And having faith that one day I'm gonna make it out of here.
That's right.
Having faith in that my family members and my community are going to set me back as this new person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's because if we all go to sleep and we hope we had that good dream. Man, I hope I have you might don't verbally say it,
Right.
but you probably, man, I want to have a good dream. Man, I got me a nice car, a nice house, some girl. We want to interpret these the dreams that make us sleep good in prison.
Come on.
Exactly.
Right? Giving us faith in life that is something gonna be better.
Right.
So you actually dream what you wanna illustrate in life. And so you gotta have faith. If you dream it, that's like actually living it. That's actually you lived it in your dream. Right? So now you gotta take that and have faith in it that you can actually do it in real time in existence. Right? So everybody dreamed of having, man, I was out, man. Man, I was having fun. Man, I got out of man, I got released. Man, I don't know. You wake up with so much energy because it gave you faith again that you experience freedom. So this is what a lot of brothers, and like Brother Dickerson-El said, it's a lot of religious. But at the end of the day, all of them have faith in what they believe in. Right? And if you don't have faith in believing in that you can do it and there is something bigger than you and that you could go within and pull this peace and tranquility out yourself, you could change. One thing about the body, it always is evolving. So we constantly changing. So there's no way you can't have change. So you got to have faith in that I can do the change. Right? So that's what faith in me was in prison, that because it took me
Come on.
it took me a long time to have faith in that I was going to get out, right? Because, I grew up in there. So I'm like, okay, this might be my life until things started to come around. But I always had faith, man, something, Lord, got to change or something, got to give me something. I had faith in that. Right? We had faith in that.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't had faith in commissary because we know commissary don't always come.
That's right.
Anything liable to happen. So, you know what I'm saying? And not to be on, but faith in prison is very fragile. And we know that.
That's right.
Because some brothers lose their faith once the doors lock at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They go in there and the demon come out of them that we don't see during the times when the door's out. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, faith is something, man, it's so fragile because we seen people lose it.
Right.
In prison because they lost faith. And they lost faith. That's my 2 cents, bro.
That's well put.
Yeah, it's a good 2 cents. That's more than 2. Like, that's a
change
quarter or
back.
something.
Give my change back.
Bitcoin, what you got? Bitcoin?
Yeah, because, for me, like I said, I always believed in something. I didn't have no pattern, no foundation to. And that's important what you said about foundation, because that gave me the outlook of, like you said, Dietrich, at least coming home. Because when I first got locked up, man, it was like I got locked up. The crazy part about it, I did 24 years, wound up getting 38 in total. When I first came to prison, all I had was 5 years. When I first came to prison, I had 5 years and wound up doing 24.
Yeah, talk about that.
So when when it came to, like, I didn't get into the religion that I'm into now until it was 2005. So at that time, I've been locked up, about 8, almost going on 9 years. And that was the turning point for me. I think that was the real turning point for me, far as like my character and the blueprint of the person that I wanted to be. Because at the time, I'm sitting around daydreaming and having these dreams about what I'm going to do when I get out and the type of person that I was going to be. Or, 1 minute, man, I see a music video. I'm like, man, I might get in the studio and be a producer. You be having all these different fantasy type of, what I'm saying, ideals. And but once I had came into my faith in 2005 after being locked up almost 9 years, that was really the turning point of me creating a blueprint for the person that I am now. Because I was on a crash course, that first, almost 9 years, man, I was I was in assaults back to back. Every time you turn around, I was catching an assault charge. I was always constantly in the hole. And I was kind of like at the point where as though like either I'm gonna kill you or you gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And when I had the last assault that I had caught just before I turned over, it was like I want to say like like when they say a divine intervention. I wound up assaulting somebody, and just by the grace of God, it wasn't as bad as it could have turned out. And that was right then and there. I said, man, you know what? I got to change. I got to change. And that was the thing that really, I'm gonna say, saved my life.
Yeah.
When I actually just said, you know what? I got to change, because if I don't change my whole way of thinking, I'm a self-destruct. And that was the number one thing that I believe, the reason why I even wanted to talk about this is because of, I know what it did for me.
Yeah.
And I'm quite sure I know what it did for, you two brothers, because we all had different names at one time before we really took change serious.
Yeah.
I'm Dickerson-El now. I'm proud to be called Dickerson-El. You know what I'm saying? I'm quite sure you had some other nicknames that you had when you first came in.
Yeah.
Your nickname, everybody know your nickname, Dietrich. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? So when you make those changes, you really, to me, that's a profound thing, because once you start to change how you even view yourself, see, that's was the main structure. You change how you view yourself, because at one time, hey, my name Mike, woo woo woo, and everybody knew what Mike do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But when I change, and start referring myself to another name, that's when I can see, like I can look at the man in the mirror and say, okay, I see something going on now. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't thinking the way I used to think. I didn't talk the way I used to talk. The individuals I was around, all that had changed.
Yeah.
And I think that was the turning point for me. I ain't gonna say I think, I know that was the turning point for me. I just want to just share that with you brothers. And Brother Dietrich,
talk to me.
How did your faith keep you out of trouble?
It didn't. No, I'm just being honest. It didn't really, because at the end of the day, I was still wrestling. Because I was still wrestling with the fact that a man that I didn't, just listening to something. It was a wrestle, listening, just far as dealing with faith, because, in prison, it's so much negativity. Right. And it brews negative. And so it's hard to actually stand on faith in there. Right. And I knew that what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be, regardless of prison and everything. Right. I knew. So faith, it gave me a sense of direction. That's what it did more than anything. It was more of a compass for me in life. Right. And other than me staying out of trouble, because I kind of already knew not to stay out. You already know, man, look, if you going to stay in trouble, you're going to stay out of trouble.
Right.
It was the aspect of me helping that little voice. Y'all know what I'm, sleeping peaceful. I still don't sleep peaceful at night, but sleep peaceful, right? That's what I was striving for.
Right.
Because everything else was, we was good in prison.
Yeah.
Prison, teach his own. Everybody prison sentence is different, which we call the bid is different. But when it came to faith, that's something that an individual, once again, had to believe in the change, right? And you got to actually start actually seeing the change in yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because we know you're gonna have a lot of naysayers saying anything when you do something that's against the grain. And standing 2 feet on your foundation and on faith in prison is something people look at you like it's against, like, oh, okay, you might have some lip stir. Somebody gonna say, hey man, I'm proud of you, bro. Or sister, I'm proud of you, boom. Or saying, at the end of the day, do you believe in your change?
That's right. That's right.
Because
That's right.
at the end of the day, you're gonna be held accountable for all that you did, all you know.
That's right.
So do you believe in it? So it kind of helped me in the sense of that I knew I did not want to return back as the man that I left. Right. So I knew I had to better educate myself, learn more about other experiences in life, you know, and things of that nature. And it guided me and it made me more calm because I was always quick to react.
Right.
I was a reactor about anything, a reactor. You could call me, I'm a react. and this is true, Bill, man, and I ain't gonna say his name, but the brother used to always call me Sonny from The Godfather. And I ain't never used to understand for Sonny from The Godfather. We all know how Sonny died.
Right.
And he's always said, boy, you Sonny from The Godfather. Because I always reacted. Didn't want to hear the details, want to hear nothing. Reaction. And he said, that could be your downfall if you don't get together, man. So that was one of the main things. I'm like, man. And then when you get wiser, I learned. I said, whoa, I watched Godfather. Sonny was dumb as hell. Sonny ain't had no sense of direction in life for real. He was angry.
He was miserable.
His anger was leading him. So I had to find something other than my anger that could lead, that I needed my peace to lead me. You know what I'm saying? I was leading with anger. So I had to change that, and through faith helped me learn to lead with peace as first, right? And it made me so humble. I'm still the same person. We all still the same person.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? When it comes to our masculinity and us being men, we still the same person. But it gives you, faith gives you a sense of humbleness.
Right.
That you can't get from another man. You could be the most humblest person. I'm scared of humble people. I'll be the first one to tell you. They scare me. Because if you break a man's peace,
Right.
you don't want to do that. So that's what I learned, man, that through prison and my faith, that I had to take that and learn how to be humble. And it was a great teaching for me to be humble in prison and in life period in general.
I think I should have reworded that question. But I wouldn't say that my faith kept me out of trouble, but it made me view things different.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, it made me view things different. Cause I still got in trouble occasionally. Same stuff I used to do, but it wasn't as frequent because of the conditions that we was in.
It made you value. It made you put things into perspective.
Yeah,
Right.
it made me self accountability. Put it that way. That's when I really started to understand what self accountability is, because it taught me. My faith taught me that we always say, wrath of God, this, that, and the third, right? And then when you really think about how God can get angry, when he could pierce the secret of every heart, and he know what you're going to do before your determination even made. So how can he get mad at something that I know you're going to do? So he don't get angry, but the context of the way he created everything, we accountable for our own deeds. So that's what I started to learn. Like when I do a certain thing, it's going to be a recoil. If I put out a good seed, it's going to be a good seed come back. But if I put out a bad, I better prepare myself for the worst. So that was one of the things that it gradually made me wiser, like not to do things to other people, because, I wouldn't want them to do that to me. So therefore, that's why I always, like when it comes to doing something to somebody else, now it gave me a gauge on, I shouldn't do that, and that was the thing that it slowly, it started to manifest in my life, and that was one of the things, like I say, when I first started being in religion, it just didn't stop everything at once. It was a more so of a practice, and I had to start practicing certain things, and it just started to become habitual. Chuck, what did it do for you?
Man, like I'm like where Dietrich was at, right? And that, I think that's the takeaway for me is it changes your thinking, but then your behavior follows, and then ultimately your behavior, because and going back to what we said earlier, I had life in prison. I already knew the circumstance that got me there. The chance of me getting out legally was slim to none. So my goal was every chance I got, try to escape. So I always wind up in the hole. Supermax. Every time I turn around, there's something going on. I don't care what I self-destruct. I was like in some of the better institutions, on the better plantations. I ain't feeling this. I try to escape. So, ultimately, I had to get to a point in my thinking that, I say I believe in something, then I need to test that belief. And in testing that belief, I started believing in myself and accountability, going like, say, okay, I'm going to practice this, right? And we already know how in the institution, our prisons, how our religion is in prison. You got to murder people to come in them. I remember one guy, I think we had talked about this earlier. I remember one guy, this dude was a sleazy, slimy drug addict in the joint, and he was vicious. And he was a good friend. He come and told me, he said, man, this is who I am now, and don't joke me about this. So he said he accepted God. Now everybody, he went to everybody and told me, I said, listen, this is who I am now, don't joke me about this. Because he was letting it be known that, okay, I'm this now, you joke me about, I'm going to be this other person. So, and everybody was like, okay, that's who you are, that's who you say you are, right? And that's who he came to believe he was, and that's who he was, right? And I look at that in my own experience, right? Once I made my mind up, I'm accepting this. I didn't say I'm accepting this in terms of like it's going to change my situation and where I'm at. I'm accepting this because I want to have a foundation, something I can hold on to. That when they lock them doors and like 6 months and police get stabbed and you on lockdown for like 18 months. I want to have something that I can hold on to other than like trying to manufacture something in the cell to keep me preoccupied. I want to have a basis where I can always go and have that peace that you talked about, and be comfortable. Okay, all right, they ain't hit the doors for shower. I'm not gonna go off. You know what I'm saying? But that's what this spirituality gave me. When we had this case come out, we tracking this case. When the case come out, and everybody had got life from 1965 to 1980. They had to give a new trial. And so when it came down like that, everybody that I was in the system with, I seen a change in everybody. The ones that had faith and believed, you could see it. You could see them literally looking like, yeah, I'm going home. I'm not coming back. I'm not trying to make up for lost time. You could see it. And out of that whole class, only 2 people came back. And the 2 that came back, you could see it.
Yeah, right.
Because you seen their behavior in the joint.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'm trying to get $10 off of one noodle. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to try to have the biggest store. I ain't got but 10 items in the store. You know what I'm saying? All that. But that's the reality. That was the reality. So, and to this day, I see these guys out in the street, and they still practicing their faith, and they still practicing what they believe. And at the same token, it's like we never got away from each other in terms of our camaraderie and how we socialize. We don't socialize based on who you say you believe in. We socialize based on our camaraderie that we had when we was locked up, and the fact that we relied on each other, and our faiths allowed us to grow together.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Cause I'm gonna pass this thing over to Dietrich real quick, man. And and far as you having that outlook on faith, what like has that made an impact on how you want to view things now that you out?
Great question.
Sound like James Brown over there.
Yeah. So how it made my views, how I look at things today. Everything. I teach all my family members. I teach them through my experience in prison, right? And it's crazy. And then people, the orders gonna be like, "You teach? They ain't prison. No, it ain't that. It ain't. Listen to me, orders. I teach them through my experience, through my hardship, right? Because I know I've been on that side, not having faith, right? everything taken away from me before I even was given anything in life, right? So I explained to him that, you know, I've been to death already. You know, I've been the cousin of death when just and then not knowing what is tomorrow for me. And that's anybody in life walking around. But I teach them through my experience today, through the youth, everybody. I tell them that you need some type of foundation when it comes to life. If you don't have on faith, I ain't telling you tie yourself to anything in life. But I'm saying you better have faith in yourself that you could get it done. That you are happy with yourself and you have faith in that you're going to do the right thing because you're right about the good deeds and the bad deeds.
That's right.
You got to outweigh. Our goods got to outweigh our bad, right? And once, because we seen this in life, and I don't want to be on, we seen this, the person, we always like, God dang, man, this dude always doing wrong, but he always keep getting everything. We don't see the big plan. We don't see the big kaboom that's about to happen. It happen all the time, right? Because ours was because right now everything was orchestrated as in him for you. Everything fast. Hey, come on. Everything you think you're having the fun and you don't want to have no foundation, no faith in nothing in life. This is what's going to happen to you. You're going to have an out of control life. You got to have some type of boundaries on your life and have some type of faith in belief in that thing, that there is something higher and there is something better than you, and there's faith in humanity, faith in just in people in general, right? Because you want someone to have faith in you, so you better have faith in others. So I think it was best thing that we learn faith in ourselves in prison, because a lot of us went there without any faith of ourselves or humanity, right? But I think we come out there with a better perspective on faith and understanding of people when you're released. I think, you know, majority of us, I can speak for us.
Right. Well, there you have it. Solutions from the Yard.
You've been listening to Solutions from the Yard. This podcast is presented by Voices for a Second Chance, a comprehensive reentry program that provides culturally appropriate, trauma-informed, gender-specific, and peer-based services. For more information, go to info@vscdc.org or visit our website at www.vscdc.org.